again, fight fans. I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I have the pleasure of being joined by the man who holds the record for most appearances in a Bellator cage at 23. Yet, his next fight will not be in a Bellator cage, but a Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship ring, where on March 14th he will debut as a two-sport caveman, and that is the one and only David Rickels. David, thank you for the time as we close in on this BKFC debut.
Dude, that was a pretty amazing intro. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. I've been
You
working
had
on
me hyped,
it.
though. You had me hyped.
Now, before we get to the training for bare knuckle boxing, which is fascinating, I want to get to the particulars of your decision to leave Bellator. When the news was reported of your signing with BKFC, it was stated you were a free agent. Was your decision to go there the fact that you chose them over anyone else because they made the best offer? Did you prefer to return to Bellator and the organization said they were going to go in a different direction? Like, how did it work out that you now ended up with BKFC?
Yeah, man. So it was one of those things where my contract came up, and I was kind of talking to my manager, and it was really strange, honestly. I got a phone call from a friend of mine, Sean Wheelock, and I'm assuming he probably just has some people who are, in the know. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm kind of working for Bare Knuckle now.
Okay.
What are you thinking about that?" And I'm like, "Dude, you know me. Like, do I want to fight someone Bare Knuckle? Yeah, baby, let's go." And so, honestly, truth, I've just been excited about Bare Knuckle since it kind of started again. It's been going on forever, basically.
Yeah.
But so I just came to a position where, what do I want to do next? Because I'm a free agent, right? I went free agent, so I'm like, all right, what do I want to do next? And I still have a great standing relationship with Bellator. I'm still probably gonna fight MMA. I don't know if it'll be for Bellator, or somebody else or anything like that. But I have to do this bare knuckle thing, man.
Was it just simply that? Was it like a new, fun, exciting challenge thing? Or did they make you, is this like a multi-fight deal? Are you going to make this similar or better money per fight than Bellator? Are there's, extra things on that deal that makes it more fun than just the excitement of bare knuckle boxing for you?
I'll tell you what really, really sold me is bare knuckle banking on coming here to my city.
Okay.
So that my people can watch me here. And, Bellator did that in the past for me. And when we got away from that, that was not something I really enjoyed. I love building my name and brand here in the city and in the Midwest, and just fighting in front of the people who are the ones who essentially built my name. You know what I mean? Like, without them showing up and without them being a demographic of the people that follow me, there would be no Caveman. So
did the UFC at all come into play? Maybe PFL and that $1 million championship, Rise and one champ. Did any of that factor in, or when you got contacted, they got you early and BKFC beat everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I can't dish out like everything I've been talking about, but like I've talked to quite a few people, and Caveman's still hot on the market, baby.
So you're still playing the MMA field. Like, this isn't like a long-term thing. Like you're still playing the free agent field a little bit.
I'll be honest, it could be. It could be. I signed a one-fight deal. I'm gonna show you what I bring to the table, March 14th. And then we'll renegotiate. You know what I mean? Like,
hey. Going to BKFC worked out for Beck Rawlings. She left UFC, went there, and then became even more valuable by going to Bellator, probably for even more money. Do you feel like, in a way, not that your value isn't good, you bring a lot to any organization you go to, but do you feel almost going into something like this maybe puts a little bit more spotlight on you than maybe you get in Bellator and help to build the value in MMA a little bit more?
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think it does, this having a little bit of prestige in my name already, and then going to bare knuckle just to get my eyes on me doing that. I think that's gonna help. That's gonna up, unless I go out there and get my ass whipped.
Hopefully not.
That's not good.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's not good for anybody. You know what I mean? So I got to go out here and do some ass whipping, and my stock will go up.
If you did, like you just mentioned, you likely may go back to MMA, but it may not be Bellator. It could be somebody else when the time comes. When you look back on that 9-year run, 23 fights with them, what are some of the memories that really are the lasting ones? Some of the favorite moments in your time with Bellator? That's a long run. No one else has really been there as long and has fought as much.
Buying my first house, buying a car outright. Like, honestly, I was broke as shit before Bellator. So, like, making it into some career, buying a business. I bought 2 car washes with my Bellator money.
Okay, nice.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm forever grateful and love Bellator for supplying me with everything that they have.
So when you, like you said earlier, when you get contacted about this, you're like, yeah, I'm all for it. So does that mean that have you been following along with BKFC's first 10 events? Has it intrigued you? Has it, or have you even been interested in bare knuckle stuff well before they kind of started making their name in the combat sports world?
Well, I kind of tuned in and out, because truthfully, I was watching more MMA because I was fighting MMA. And when, it got on the table that, I could potentially do this, I started checking out a lot more, man. And it's entertaining. I love to watch it, man. It's really something else. And, I like to fight dirty and in the pocket. So I think it, fares to me pretty well too.
There's a lot of people that are going to look at it, and because it can be a very bloody, but part of that is just fighting bare knuckles. People get cut. People, it lends itself to more gore. But do you think maybe, it in a way, it doesn't deserve the weird taboo vibe it gets? It's still not legal in a lot of states. Do you feel that as it goes along, guys like you get involved, a lot of MMA stars getting involved, bringing it that extra prestige, it'll help it along? Because now, what is this, the 5th state? So it's moving in the right direction. States are legalizing it. Do you think, more will come and less, it'll be less taboo after a certain point, and it'll start getting looked at as MMA once evolved into what it is now and looked at as like this big time sport?
I do think, I think that eventually it'll become more normal. It's one of those things, man, where it's hard to see the future on this, though. Are you going to get young stars that want to go straight to bare knuckle? And you want to do 10 years of bare knuckle? I don't know, man. That's a hard sell unless the money's there. You know what I mean? Like, unless they can start really, really paying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you can be good. You can be good after this 5 years or whatever. So I don't know, but I don't think bare knuckle is going anywhere by any means. But it might just be a little bit different of a market.
Talk to me about the difference in training for not just, it being a boxing focus for this, but it's a bare knuckle fight. It's a different kind of thing than just regular boxing. I talked to a couple of former MMA stars, Chris Lytle and Kendall Grove, before they made their BKFC debuts, and we talked a bit about it, and they mentioned how, you got to be careful because you can easily break a hand if you go a little wild and do that kind of stuff. Tyson Fury recently talked about before his heavyweight title fight, he was going to put his hands in petroleum for 5 minutes to toughen them up. Some of the out of the box thinking. Is there anything out of the normal that you're doing to prepare for this kind of unique style of boxing, or it's pretty much a straight boxing training camp for you? Just so happens to not be with gloves and maybe more reps.
As far as sparring goes, I'm still using boxing gloves, but I've been doing a lot of work with my coach where I just wrap my hands just like I would, very similar. Knuckles exposed, and I'll smash pads with them, and mainly so I can feel the blocks, right? Because with a glove, I can block like this. Right? I can't block like this with bare knuckle, right? So I have to change my block quite a bit. Truthfully, from watching the bare knuckle, your best block is your head not being there. In boxing in general, really. And man, so there's been a lot of changes, but I've really loved training more linear, honestly, like one-dimensionally. It's just like one singular focus. Like, hey, I got to get my boxing work in today. I got to do my road work. I got to get in shape, of course, like always. But I've just really been able to hone in on boxing.
Do you see a big jump when that happens? Because, you know, everybody that watches MMA, you guys have to go through so much and train for so many different aspects, and you have to divide up a training session in a week and that kind of thing. Have you seen such a big jump in your boxing now that you get just to focus on boxing?
Absolutely. I really have. I've been doing it probably solid for 10, 11 weeks right now. And I haven't even really thrown a kick or two. So, you know, it's been all boxing, and I really feel like I've made some great gains.
How much easier has this kind of focus, like we're talking about on boxing, you know, compared to MMA, been for you in terms of like just staying healthy without all the grappling work? Do you head into this fight with your body feeling a bit better than it would for an MMA fight?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'll tell you what, like wrestling is by far one of the hardest things on your body, period. So like, you know, and I've had never like a tear or anything, but I've had like some knee injuries in the last couple of years. Just real minor, but like this doesn't bother that at all. You know what I mean? Like I don't even worry about that getting beat up in practice. You know what I mean? I don't have to babysit that. So yeah, the worry about injury is pretty much not there.
Now, circling back to kind of what you mentioned before in terms of the fighting in Kansas, because you were kind of the go-to guy for Bellator for a while when they were going to Kansas often. You were always on this card, and you know that when they went away from that, they went to the kind of, it seems like Oklahoma has replaced Kansas in a lot of ways for the Midwest card.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be back in a main slot in Kansas, you know, representing a new kind of sport for you, a new brand? Is it almost not just exciting to be to Kansas, but kind of just the new style of Caveman that's coming back for combat sports to Kansas?
Yeah, it really got me. I mean, it just fired me up, man. Like, okay, we're coming back to Kansas, and I'm doing this new bare knuckle shit. Like, what? Okay, all right. I know the people are gonna be excited about this one. You know what I'm saying? So, and they are, man. Like, I'm selling tickets like crazy, man. And it's the novelty of it. You know, that's where I'm actually making most of my back end money.
Yeah, that's old school.
Truthfully, I'm gonna make quite a bit of money from ticket sales. You know what I'm saying? But that's cool for me. I don't mind doing that. I want this promotion to succeed here in Kansas because I want them to come back.
And I've talked to so many fighters, and that's kind of like an old school thing. They used to sell tickets in their early days of pro fights. I've seen it with Ring of Combat here in Atlantic City and near New York. You know, was that hard to kind of get back to having to go old school to sell tickets, or was it much easier this time around? Because who doesn't know the Caveman, especially Kansas? Like, I don't have any more tickets for you guys.
Bro, honestly, it's easy. Like, I don't even have to try, man. The sales have been super easy. People don't mind coming to me, man. And then when they come to you, guess what? They're buying a T-shirt too, baby. You know what I mean? I'm out here selling merch, dog.
Nice.
And
the hustle is real.
Yeah. So, like, you know, it gets everyone excited. It keeps me excited. The energy is great in the city right now, man. Like, people are really pumped up for this event. And I'm just happy it's here at home. I love it.
Now, the weird thing is, like, and maybe I'm just not finding the right things. When I've been researching, I can't get a set opponent for who you're matched up with. Oh. Who's your opponent? Like, who are you fighting?
Dude. All right, man. So
are you just gonna mirror box and shadow box and then watch
I was
that?
fighting Justin Baseman.
Okay.
And you know, he's a Bellator glory vet, lots of fights and stuff like that. And he backed out like 3 days ago.
Okay.
4 days ago. He kind of went ghost on everybody.
Wow.
Just from my understanding, I don't talk directly to the guy or anything like that, obviously. So my understanding is it just fell through for whatever reason, and they scrambled, and they've got somebody now. We do have somebody now, because turns out when you sell $40,000 in tickets,
you better get an
opponent. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get an opponent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be like, hey, go up there, turn your tickets back in. Turn those tickets.
Have you been able to like scout this guy at all, or is this like Bloodsport and this is the Kumite and you're just gonna see him on fight night and that's it?
No, this is the Kumite, baby. I'm just preparing for me, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've one cool thing about this too is, man, it's like, give me a little bit of like that killer, like blood, like, man, I've had to change my mind frame. Like, dude, you're probably gonna get fucked up a little bit. Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
be bleeding all over
Yeah.
yourself, and you got to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And like, I've gotten my mind in a place where I feel comfortable with whatever. If we're gonna have a dirty 5-round fight where we're beating the hell out of each other, and I come out of there looking like the Goonies, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yep.
That's what it's gonna have to be. I'm not getting beat up in my hometown.
When I talked to you before your last fight in Bellator for the Bridgeport card, you talked a little about cage entrances and how they are so popular, but you've probably exhausted all the caveman related gimmicks to make this unique. Now, in a new sport, new home, was there a thought, maybe a new nickname, a change, opening the door to a whole new plethora of fun entrances, a reinvented Dave Rickels and Bare Knuckle, or is the caveman gonna dive deep into the bag of ideas and have something special in terms of the entrance on March 14th?
Oh, I mean, I've already got something special.
Can we get a hint? Can we get like a hint? Is it a movie? Is it something really? Get a hint.
Very primal.
Oh, that's a hint. I still don't know.